social media tag, either it kill you or you use it as your weapon to kind of promote it. Don't waste your energy in fighting something. Ride along the wave.
Yeah, don't fight the wave. Yeah, just ride the wave.
Don't fight the wave.
Yeah.
You can't fight the wave. You're gonna die.
Why, hello there, food lovers, and welcome to The Hungry Immigrant, the place where flavors cross borders and cultures unite. I'm your host, Abang Brian, coming to you with stories, secrets, and the irresistible charm of Asian cuisine and heritage. Each week, we'll journey into the heart of what makes food more than just a meal. We'll talk to chefs, celebrities, home cooks, and food enthusiasts who have brought their heritage to our tables. From the bustling streets of Kuala Lumpur to the vibrant markets of Manila and Seoul to the Chinatowns of New York, Paris, and Toronto, we're exploring the magic of food that connects us all. So join us as we delve into the rich tapestry of Asian food culture and heritage, celebrating the traditions and innovations that make our culinary world so diverse and exciting. Now, get ready as today's episode promises to be a flavorful journey.
Welcome back to another episode of The Hungry Immigrant, and this time I'm back home in my hometown, my homeland, Malaysia, and I've taken the opportunity to actually be with the people that I have worked with, people who have been supporting me in the industry. So one of the first people I thought of for the podcast is everyone who I meet, I always tell her that she's my mentor. When I stepped into the industry for entertainment, I think she was the one who was always helping me, and she was the one who always encouraged me to actually pursue education and also a PhD. I will let her introduce herself, but she is the personification of beauty and brains. She was Miss Malaysia, she is the double PhD holder, she cooks very well, and she recently was a cat on Masked Singer Malaysia, and she does everything, right? So briefly, Dr. Soo Wincci.
Yes.
Please tell our audience a little bit about yourself, especially people who are not from Malaysia.
Yeah, I was Miss World Malaysia. My background was law, then I went into business. I was in MasterChef with Brian. I was in the acting world, singing world, pageant world, now educational world. I'm also I was based in Taiwan, I was in China, I was in Spain. I don't know, Ben. And currently I'm back here for a while as well. So I do a lot of things. And as you know, that Malaysia or ASEAN country, we have to, self-survive, I would say. Right? It's very different. And we do a lot, but we also have a lot of flavor. Right? I was like, Malaysia is a very, very different countries, right? It's different culture, different strategy. And I keep telling Brian, in our line, if you don't reinvent yourself, you're going to die.
Yeah, this is one thing that Soo Wincci always talks about, reinventing, right?
Yeah.
Of course, our podcast focuses on celebrating and preserving food heritage, especially Asian food heritage. So let's start with your very first food memories.
Wow. Honestly, during MasterChef, everyone called me Queen of Dessert, right?
Right.
And you were the king of the dessert, right?
Right.
My first food memory was chocolate cake.
Okay.
Strange, right?
Okay.
You know why? When I was young, Asian parents, they don't want to buy cake for us because they don't take dairy products, especially my parents. So I remember every birthday, except for my first birthday, I have a cake. Then I never see my parents buy any cake for me. Then I ask them, hey, Pa, Ma, why? And then they say that, no, because we don't eat and you guys are so young. So it become a norm. And Chinese, they only give us red eggs and noodles as a birthday cake.
Right.
Which, the Chinese heritage, that's our birthday cake. But no, since young, I watch online, or not online back then, on TV.
Right.
Hey, birthday cake. So I remember that, okay, my mentality was, I know that my mom won't buy it for me, so I would like to bake it myself. So what happened was I was very young. I never stepped in the kitchen before. Rather than crying, I want to find a way to solve it. I was just 5 years old back then. Every single time, whenever my mom and dad goes to work, I will sneak into the kitchen. I tried and beat the eggs myself. Even I didn't know I need flour to bake cake. It turned out flop. So the next way I did was to watch baking show, right? So back then, when I was 4, 5 years old, everyone is watching cartoon, right? My favorite show was cooking show and baking show. So I would watch and I would take note. So I managed to bake a full chocolate cake at the age of 7. So
7 years old?
7 years old. That
Wow.
was my victory.
Wow.
Every single time after 7 years old, that was during primary school, whenever I go to play at my friend's house, like I would not just go and play, I'll go to the kitchen and ask their mom their recipe.
So coming back a little bit to what you said, number one is Soo Wincci is of Chinese heritage. So
Yes.
in Malaysia we have different ethnic groups.
Different ethnic,
and
yes.
she's Malaysian Chinese.
Yes. Fourth generation
So she's a
immigrant.
fourth
Yeah,
generation
fourth,
immigrant.
yeah.
And I like the thing that you talked about. Number one, you mentioned that in general, Asian, especially Chinese heritage people, they don't take dairy because...
They don't take dairy. They are not trained
Right.
to take pastry.
Right.
And in their generation, there's no dessert. They were from that generation of like eating main course. That's
Right.
all.
More savory.
More
kind of
savory
food.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
So whenever you want to add something new into that, you're going to go against their norm. And I was so young, too young, to demand for that cake because I know that I can't finish it. Because I'm the only one who loves pastry in my house. So I love Western food.
But you mentioned about the red egg and also the noodles. Maybe
Yes.
tell us a little bit about this.
Tradition where as a Chinese custom, we call it shou mian. The noodle represent longevity.
All right.
Okay? The egg represent the birth,
I
red.
see.
So every single time whenever you are born or whatever, even nowadays, right, even my grandmother or grandfather, even you buy a birthday cake, they will give you an egg and the noodles.
So this is a chicken egg that you boil, hard boil.
Boil and with like you put the red color.
It's dyed red.
It's dyed red.
I see, okay.
And just a longevity Chinese noodle.
Right.
So they say that by custom, you have to eat like just one bit. It's just for the custom, so that you are going to be long-lived.
Symbolic of...
Symbolic.
Right.
So because of that, they think that it's going to substitute birthday cake. It's just like us, like in the Western side, that birthday cake symbolizes that, right? But for their Chinese custom was like that. So it was a clash between both.
Right.
And I am the younger generation,
Right.
which into Western, and I was trained all those things. I was exposed. My father mother was really Chinese, really from small town, and my ancestor was from China. Then the second, third generation, they can't speak English. So my mom and dad, they can speak, but they are not willing, the culture-wise. But into like my generation, we speak fluent. And we already accept the culture, and we already blend into that.
Do you think this is a threat to our traditions?
I don't think it's a threat,
Yeah.
but as mentioned that it's good to have the two things together. Of course, sometimes we introduce something newer things to enhance the culture. It's not to replace, honestly. You can't replace that. Until today, morning I'll have that egg and the noodles, and night I have my birthday cake, right? So it's like a lot of times it's still like that. But of course, like nowadays, like whenever like grand ancestor pass away, we don't get the red egg and that. Even sometimes I don't even get a birthday cake because as you age, because of that, a lot of factors. But when you think back and stuff, there are still certain things like that. So a lot of times I just think that it could be in the trend. I always say that, right? If you can't, don't make it too serious. If you put the culture so serious, the youngster won't take it. Because now we go teaching, right? If you can see, right, they like to make it as a trend. And if you can see K-pop and stuff, right, actually it's just a 90s trend coming back.
Okay.
So a lot of times you see that youngster is a very different breed. We are different breed, right? Our ancestors different breed. If you want to preserve the culture, you have to analyze the mentality of the different generation. One way you can't conquer every generation, right? So I guess that it also depends on demographics and everything. So a lot of detailing. If you really want to preserve the culture, we did a cultural exhibition in China as well. I remember they were saying that, hey, the sambal doesn't, the Chinese will say that, yeah, we're trying to promote the culture to them.
Right.
But if you do it Malaysian way, you know what the chef say? I don't think you can take it.
Why do you think that is?
Because they are not trained eating that type of things since young.
Okay, so like sambal is basically, I think we mentioned a lot of times, when you talk to Malaysians and Malaysian food, the one
it's
word is sambal, right? Sambal is
What's
like,
sambal,
there's so many
right?
versions of it.
Yeah.
Sambal is just basically I would say a chili jam or chili chutney kind of thing.
Yes.
And I would be curious with that because the Chinese actually in China have like the Sichuan region.
Yes.
They have mala, which is
Yeah.
like any dish that is numbing,
Yep.
spicy. So isn't it similar in certain
Well,
ways?
maybe because we know samba inside they have prawn paste and you have different stuff. Even like rojak sauce, some of them can't take it
All right.
because of the pungent. Okay, so they like the numbing, but they might not like the paste. That it's a very different. You know, if you go very deep science into sambal and chili paste, right?
Yeah.
Even chutney, people say, "Hey, why the Western people cook like that?" You know, so it's a different cooking skill, and the different ingredients and the different herbs inside.
Right.
Because in sambal herbs, ASEAN, which is Southeast Asian, it's not the Chinese numbing, you know. Yeah. So it's very different. So for them, they were like, weird but nice, but it can't register in their dictionary.
Okay.
So like for us, we were like, yeah, we are searching for Malaysian sambal.
Okay.
So a bunch of us, but the Chinese was like, oh, 这可以吗？那可以吗? I was like, is this okay? Is that okay? I was like, just try. Maybe give them a bit.
So for you, the difference would be the fact that in Southeast Asia, especially in Malaysia, we use a lot of shrimp paste.
Shrimp paste, or herbs you can't find in China. We have the common friend, he opened a malat in the restaurant in Malaysia as well.
Okay.
He tried to reinvent the malat to Malay audience,
I remember
right?
this. Yeah, okay.
It sort of failed.
Oh, it did. Okay.
You know why? At the end, he said that, okay, Malaysians used to sambal.
Right,
it's the same thing where if you try and sell it to the Western, you have to do the chutney style.
You think so? It
depends also. It depends. But I tried a few times. Even like I was saying Chinese, Malaysian, or you know, Malaysian, Asian Malaysian, and the Chinese in China now, right?
Yeah.
There was one time I was based in Taiwan. My friend from Chinese Taiwan, he said that, hey, I don't get it. Why you all eat prawn paste with fruits, Rojak?
Okay, so for our listeners who are listening in now, rojak is some sort of a fruit salad kind of thing.
But with prawn paste.
Yes, like a mixture of prawn paste.
Like for us, it's so peanuts. Normal, right? They can't accept that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So it's all those things where us as a Malaysian, we never think before. But I was so many countries, right? Especially I'm in the Chinese market. I was like, it's really complex.
I would say that from this, you actually realize that food really does represent our identity very strongly, right?
It does. It comes to it's like a research DNA, like it's like every country.
It's because whenever I travel around the world, both me and Soo Wincci, we are of Chinese heritage.
Yes, Chinese.
We have Chinese roots, but I think I identify mostly as Malaysian.
Yeah.
But when people look at us in general, first of all, for those people who say we all look the same, no, we don't look the same, okay? The Chinese people with Chinese origins all around the world, especially Malaysian, we may look a little bit like them, but I think the food really does tell that we are a little bit different, right?
We are very different, even coming from the same ancestry. We're all Chinese, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of like...
So in that sense, I would ask you then, Dr. Soo Wincci, what is your food identity?
Honestly, my food identity, I like experimental. You remember in MasterChef, we were like, okay, if the food is not weird, it's not Soo Wincci, remember?
Yeah.
Right? That was my identity. My identity is, I won't play safe.
Right.
Food represent identity where I represent my character. I can look like a beauty queen or whatever, but they can't stop me from talking and creating weird stuff.
Right. Coming back to Malaysian food, we're talking about Malaysian food, right? And this is something that I have a lot of difficulty explaining to people around the world. It's a struggle not only because people don't know Malaysia, it's also a struggle because Malaysia is so diverse.
Too diverse.
Right? So for you, if you were speaking to someone who don't even know what Malaysia is, what is Malaysian food?
Malaysian food is a combination, of course it's a Southeast Asian food, but it's a combination of different heritage from the Malay, the Chinese, the Indians, and due to all the colonization as well, we have a lot of influence in Malaysia. So because we were conquered by British, conquered by the Portugals, and they also crafted and we have Baba Nyonya from China dynasty and stuff, we came here. So that shaped all our cuisine. So if you want to say Malaysian cuisine, there's so many.
Right.
Of course, the main one is Malay food, and we have Chinese. We also have Baba Nyonya, the mixture of Chinese and Malay and stuff. So Malaysian food, I guess that one thing, of course, it's tropical stuff, but it is a mixture of these three main heritage, I would say. Yeah.
And I think Baba Nyonya is something that we'll be talking in another episode because I hope he fulfills his promise. I got our good friend who is also Baba Nyonya,
I see.
who sounds like me,
wow.
who have agreed to talk about it. So Baba Nyonya, for people who are listening, is basically it's a result of intercultural marriages between the Malay and the Chinese.
Yeah.
So they have, and Malacca, because the Malacca state of Malacca actually is well known for this,
Yes.
and they call them the Peranakan people. And you also have Peranakan, Malacca, and Penang, which also are a little bit different. I think the word that I think maybe will conclude what Malaysian food is, it's so different, it's so diverse, it's
too diverse.
It's not one note, right?
Yeah, it's because of Malaysia is a multicultural and multiracial country. Nowadays, I guess a lot of people are coming here to base here, and stuff. So you know that in the future, it might be more fusion than you think. Yeah, it's getting more fusion now. And this generation, all fusion food go trending.
So, for you, are there any specific dishes or ingredients that are particularly significant to your culture?
Ingredients definitely to my identity as a Chinese Malaysian, oyster sauce.
Okay.
It add the gist to that,
Right.
oyster sauce. Even I remember when I cook curry, I put oyster sauce.
Really?
Yeah. And
because I have, my partner is Filipino, and I would be told okay, let's cook Chinese. I would say let's cook Chinese tonight. And I would be told just put oyster sauce in anything, it'll be Chinese.
in some ways, we like to use that.
Okay.
And I think the second one is sesame oil as well.
Okay, sesame oil, that one.
It's true, right?
Yeah.
It's true. You can't deny it. I know that something is wrong, but it's like, you're so used to it. It's exactly like the Western people. I bet they have this certain thing where
They do.
all the sauce, their sauce they can put inside that. But I was, oyster sauce. I was like,
And this episode was not brought to you by Lei Kam Ki. Actually, well, in America, we call it LKK.
what's LKK?
Lei Kam Ki. It's so popular, and they're like, I
it's
think my
true,
Australian
right?
friends, they were like, do you have LKK? And I'm like, what is LKK?
Well, it's so. I mean, it's very good branding, though.
Yeah, it's good branding,
They're
and
very successful.
they're very strong abroad, I must say.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do this to all the singers that come to my show.
Yeah.
If you were a dish, and your dish was a song,
A song.
yeah, how would it sound like? Sing me a line that represents the food that you like.
Wow. I'm a musician.
Is that
No, I think.
Okay, so her latest song, I don't know when this episode is going to go out, but her latest song is about crocodiles. So this is something that's
crocodile.
interesting to tell people from our...
Oh yeah, it can be that song.
Really?
Yeah. You know why? That song I incorporated ballad, electronic, Malay, a bit of like pop and stuff. So that represents me because I like lyrics.
The genre represents you. So
the genre.
buaya crocodile, we don't eat crocodiles
I
in
don't eat-
Malaysia.
yeah,
The
we don't
song
know.
was about, I think buaya in Malay, it's also a play on the word that actually
Yes.
means player,
A
right?
player,
Like
yeah.
a person who's a
Yeah.
player, right?
Yes.
In Malaysia, there's a lot of scandals of celebrities cheating their wives and all this kind of
Yeah,
things.
there's so
And
many.
So we'll not go into that, but
I think because of the beat and also the genre and the people around it, and that song was crafted by Malaysian, full team of
okay.
Malaysian.
Okay.
So it represents my taste.
Can we have like a taste?
Can.
sample?
Kamu memijah hatiku, apa salah aku, sampai tak cukup satu. Oh kamu telan kamu rasa buaya.
And you have to go and watch a video clip because she's got this like dance that
a
is
bit
like
dance.
the mouth of the crocodile.
Yeah,
and-
animation as well, everything.
I think what you just said is very meaningful because your song, which has those different genres,
Yeah.
represent the different cultures in Malaysia
Yeah.
and melted into one. I think like your song, it is tasty, right?
Yep.
Wow!
That's right. Because
I have to say that so that she don't ask me to pay royalty for that one line.
I have a meeting with Spotify and stuff because they are very interested in my portfolio is because I don't just sing in Malay. I also sing in Chinese Mandarin, Chinese Cantonese, and I speak Spanish. And Malaysian as well, we're adaptable, I would say. And also we are trained since young to respect the culture, and we are trained since young to go and study and appreciate culture. That's why I guess Malaysian is a very good people who love to research about heritage and culture and all this thing. That's why we do art, right?
Yep.
It's the same thing, I did music before. Techniques always will, from technology will change from time. But culture, identity, that's my distinct voice. AI can't take over. Some of them they say that, hey, I pay you lah. I can give you like AI to sing for you. I was like, For what? They're trying to do that, but I was telling them that certain things you can be replaced by AI, but human talent you can't.
So do you think AI will take the place of our food traditions and it's a threat to our food heritage?
No lah. Food is very hard. Even like now, right? Like you see, like things are changing, but if F&B, people still need to eat, right? You see the malls in Malaysia, you must have restaurant to bring people in. So food, no matter what, people still have to consume it, right? I think the taste as well. It either tilt that way, it will come back this way. So if you too fusion, you get bored. You want to go back to heritage. It's the same as music. Fashion as well, colors as well. You know, you can't create like new color. I mean, like, you can maybe different tone and stuff, but at the end, it still comes back to the whole thing.
So you feel that technology and heritage can...
It will enhance.
It will enhance and it can be together.
It must be. For us as well, if the heritage with technology is going to maximize in some ways. But of course, in certain ways, if you don't use the speed of technology and stuff, it won't be preserved. Sometimes it's same as the music. I need to learn music tech. I saw my friend who only know performance. You must blend together, but you must perform well. We do recording as well. If your talent is not good enough, honestly, we're gonna know you're gonna use a lot of autotune and all this. That doesn't work, right? It's the same as food and stuff. It still need that heritage, the source of richness for the tech to push and to enhance. It's not going to take over, but you have to reinvent in some ways. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm jumping ahead of myself here because obviously you are a person in academia as well, and you deal with young people a lot.
Yes, a lot.
One of the things that, me doing my research on young people and eating habits and culture and all, we see that they are shifting away from our traditions. So they are forgetting who they are or where they come from. This is caused by social media, it's caused by, I would say, by one particular app which I feel can be dangerous. We will not mention it. It is one of those apps that you scroll and you watch videos over and over again. So what I realize is the young people now are defining their reality through the videos that they watch. This is the angle of technology that I'm getting at. How do you think we can help these young people not forget who they are and not forget the culture that surrounds our food and our heritage?
The thing is where you're going to find, you already say that the cause and the root of causation, right? That's social media, right?
Yeah.
You have to tackle that area. You get what I mean? So our time was TV, do you know that?
Yeah.
TV was brainwashing us. So a lot of times I told them, as a social media creator or content creator nowadays, that is 80 or 90% representing the younger generation, right? So we have no choice to go to that way and plant a community there if we really want to preserve that heritage. But again, it's the same thing as if I want to tackle the market, you have to come to a midpoint. Meaning, I do what you want, I also put what I want. You can't force them. Nowadays generation, I went for teaching, you force them, you punish them, they're not going to come back and they're going to hate you because they're too smart, right? So you have to speak their language. Remember, Brian, when we went into MasterChef, we were Chinese, but we were trying to go in the Malay market. Remember what I told you? I was like, let's do what they want, right? Because we are going to their territory. You want to convince them, right? You have to do what they want first. And
assimilate, in a sense.
Okay, assimilate, and I think another thing is but you must know where is the point of limit. Do not assimilate until you lost yourself. You also have to plan a time to get out. Because sometimes you can't control. We only can try our best. But sometimes, kids is always like that. Remember our generation, it's going to take a long time for you to notice. So all of us will go through that. Like for me, right, sometimes I told my student, okay, why I tell you so many times so you don't understand? Because they haven't fallen before.
You have to experience it.
We travel. I remember back in my days, I haven't went to UK for my studies or I haven't based. I never appreciate. You know what I told my mom? I even say, I hate Malaysian food and everything, but when I went UK, I saw the price there. I was like, Mom, when I was in Spain, where's my curry? I don't want tapas anymore. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to experience that.
Right.
So it's the same as my students. Like, you know what? Just go and see. You're gonna feel it one day. We've been through that.
Experience.
Yeah. So I was like telling them, give them some time in certain ways. But of course, the second and third is they like new things because they were forced so much. I saw as well a lot of kind of trendy place. They're going through all this memory lane.
Yeah.
Like by that, they preserve their heritage
That is true.
in a more modern way. It's the same thing, If you want to preserve traditional music, you should put it into the electronic production. The sound.
I get
You
what
get
you're
what I mean?
saying.
I tried, and when in Berkeley, I was like, if I only like gamelan, right?
Yeah.
If I only play like that, they don't like it. What if I mix with the electronic? Hey, what's that? So certain things, I still think that soft selling, you have to plant.
It is true. It is true because, like, honestly, two camps of people who come to me and say,
Yeah.
like, number one, they don't believe social media is ruining our heritage, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
No,
think further. But
it
then we
is
also have people
true.
who say, like, oh, let's just put social media away, and I'm like, that's not realistic,
no.
is it?
So sorry. I still remember my first PhD is, my first PhD is social media, right?
Right.
I'm the first few one who write about social media back then. I was
Branding, right? Yeah.
on branding, and I was like, no, this is coming. None believed me back then, remember? So I was like, now, so sorry, it is the norm already. So a lot of people want to read my stuff. I was like, I told you, right? So I just think that, yes, you need to detox. Second, you need to find your direction. Because some things you can't avoid, you have to go beyond that. If you avoid that, I know some researchers, they avoid this bunch of things, they're going to lose a lot of data. Same as me. I used to hate certain applications, right? I hate it so much, but I have no choice to do it because my students are there. I planted something where I put in my agenda behind. It's the same as drama and stuff. Look at K-pop.
Yeah.
Look at K-drama.
Yeah.
They can promote the whole thing, kimchi, and I feel like eating that.
Yep.
They never say, hey, buy kimchi. No. I feel like eating kimchi when I saw the actor. Wah. So please think about all this formula. I always love to study. I was like, why people can do so well?
Yeah.
Because we never go that few layer, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I know a lot of people, especially Asian, they like to fight this, fight that. I learned something, especially these 5 to 6 years, where after COVID, I changed a lot when I went to education as well. I was like, don't waste your energy in fighting something. Ride along the wave.
Yeah. Don't fight the wave. Yeah. Just ride
Don't
the
fight
wave.
the wave.
Yeah.
You can't fight the wave. You're gonna die.
Correct.
But of course, you can take a break. Okay? You also can take a break to see your direction. But don't get lost as well. Social media tag, either it kill you or you use it as your weapon to kind of promote it in some ways, right? As a chef, a knife can kill a person, right?
Correct.
But a knife can craft
Something beautiful. Yep.
a dish, right? Social media is the same thing. If you use it for something not good, it's going to kill the whole thing. I did a lot of research on all this. I'm writing a paper on that as well. And also I gotten there's a lot of new rules and regulation for information in Malaysia. So other countries as well. So key opinion leader, as mentioned, it's just a reviewer, and that was the last generation, right?
Correct.
Now, as mentioned, we are going towards a key opinion educator, certified. So all this thing, you can't just be online. So now we do auditing. So we have to
Right.
tally your offline portfolio and your online. And you have to have 5 to 6 years of experiences in doing all these things without everyone's complaining and everything. So there are a lot of audit system. It's secretly, we're doing this 5 years already to
Right.
test a lot of things. So
I
clients
see.
are very smart, and you can use a lot of like hyper-edit tools online to see whether do they buy fans and stuff. So
Right.
client also test and all these people, and we also are testing this influencer on set. Of course, 80% of them are fake. Yeah, I remember when I came back and judged singing show, a very famous someone online can't sing live. So you know that can't, right? Acting the same. I guess cooking as well, You
Yeah.
can't claim that you're a chef if you don't practice it in the offline world, right? That whole thing had kind of burst in some ways. It's just coming into place of, because theory you can't develop in 1 year, right? I need
Correct.
study case, you need a lot of cases. So it is about time now.
So you have traveled a lot, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
UK, Spain, Taiwan, right? Do you see our traditional recipes being adapted
Export?
to local taste?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
being changed? How do you see it change?
Okay, I remember when I was in UK,
Whoops, did we just run out of time? What did she actually feel about Asian food in the UK? Catch the next part of our conversation in the next episode, dropping next week at the same time. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Till then, terima kasih and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of The Hungry Immigrant. It's been a delightful feast of stories and flavors that remind us just how much food brings us together. Now don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you'll never miss an episode. And if you loved today's culinary journey, leave us a review and share the episode with your friends and family. Your support helps keep our traditions alive and our tables more diverse. Do follow us on Instagram at Hungry Immigrant and my personal account Abang Brian for behind-the-scenes looks and extra tidbits from each episode. We love to see how food inspires you, so do tag us in your next food adventure. I'm Abang Brian, reminding you to savor every bite and cherish every moment at the table. Until next time, keep your plates adventurous and your hearts open.